Hi everyone, it's Jenny here from Baby Bear. This video today is about nappy leaks. It seems to be a problem people face at one time or another with their nappies, and what I'm going to talk about today can really apply to any brand of nappy that you use. So hopefully anyone can actually find this really useful. There's a really important thing to realise when you've got a leaking nappy. You've either got a fit issue or an absorbency issue, and it's really easy to actually work out which it is. If you've got a fit issue, generally your nappy is leaking, but it's seemingly dry. So it hasn't absorbed what it should have. So then you know that something's wrong, that the nappy for some reason isn't doing its job. If you have an absorbency issue, your nappy is going to be soaking wet, it's going to be heavy, and it's basically going to have burst at the seams with moisture. And these two problems obviously have two totally different solutions. So let's start with looking at fit issues, because often it's really obvious if it's absorbency. You can tell the nappy is just completely at capacity. So with fit issues, I'm going to start with one of the things nappies I see a lot of people pop on wrong, and that is a nappy that has rise snaps. So these are the same nappy. You can see the rise snaps up here. And these rise snaps, for all the newbies, are basically to make your nappy smaller, to reduce the size in the front and the length of the nappy so that it can fit smaller and larger babies. But when you adjust these, it's really important that when you put it on your baby, it looks like this and not like this. Because when you have all these bits down the side, you have your lining showing, you have a nice channel here straight out of the nappy. The nappy can't actually sit nice and neatly on your bub, as you can see there, and sit like right nicely and create a nice seal with their legs. You've got all these gapes and gaps. And so when you get some urine sort of pooling and it hasn't quite absorbed fast enough, it's just gonna come straight out the legs. So that's really important. And not only is it great for leaks, but your nappy is gonna look so much nicer and neater on your bub when you fold that rise up. So on the inside, you can see, this is on the smallest rise, it sort of looks like that. Okay, so that's the first thing. If you are using a nappy that has rise snaps, make sure when you pop it on, it's folded so it looks really nice and neat and goes on beautifully. The next thing is when you pop the nappy on, these leg elastics don't sit around the legs, they don't sit around the thighs, they sit like bikini briefs, essentially. That line up along the undie line is the best way. Sort of where the leg meets the groin. And that's where they need to sit to give you the best seal. Otherwise, they're sort of stretching out, creating this nice flat surface down their leg where the wee is just gonna... Whereas when we actually get them in that undie line, what we create is this nice little bucket that sits on your bub's bum. And even if the wee sort of pulls a little bit as it's absorbing, it's actually gonna work with gravity and sit there for those, few seconds, milliseconds, however long it takes to actually get in the nappy and not just come straight out the legs. So it's really important when you put the nappy on, it's folded up and you push it up so it's actually sitting in the leg creases, not sitting around their thighs. And a lot of people also get marks on, like those elastic marks, because they pop them around the thighs and not right in the groin creases. So it's also going to help you avoid that. So they're the two first things, is to make sure that that's what you've got. You also then need to actually make sure the nappy's the right adjustment for your child. Too firm and you're just gonna actually have wee exploding out of it. You're gonna get compression leaks, and it's too tight, it's gonna be uncomfortable for your bub. Too loose, and basically you're gonna have, those holes we talked about earlier, those channels out of the nappy. So you shouldn't, little marks from elastics is quite normal, just like you often see on your socks. If you've had them on your feet all day and your feet have been a bit warm and you get those ridges, it's a lot like that you can get a little bit of indentation. If they're really red and thick and they look a bit like nasty, then the nappy's probably on too tight or in the wrong spot. So it's really important to make sure you actually have a nice, firm, but not too tight fit. So you should sort of be able to get 2 fingers just in the tummy, but not have a big gap. You should be able to sort of run your finger around the elastics on the leg, and it shouldn't really be like you can barely get your finger in there, but you should be able to see you've got a nice seal. So it's really important. And if you don't feel confident with whether it's too tight or too loose, you can always ask the brand you've bought from, or just try on the next setting and see if it makes a difference for those leaks. So that's really important too, is making sure that it's not too tight and it's not too loose. The other thing is that many people, they get their nappies, they wash them once, they use them and they get leaks. Then they do that same thing again and they get leaks. It's really important, especially with bamboo and even your cotton inserts, that they're washed at least 8 times before you start making a judgment that you have a problem. Because the issue may actually be that the nappy hasn't reached its full absorbency. So by washing the nappies, you're getting all the fibers nice and loose so that they're ready to sort of soak up. You're getting any of the dressings on the fabrics out. It's like if you try and use a tea towel on your dishes and you haven't washed it, it's got sort of like a coating on it and it won't absorb. You need to get all that that dressing out. You need to get the fibers prepped so they're ready to just drink up any of the moisture. So that's really important as well. So make sure before you start panicking, and a lot of people, I've seen many emails over the years from people who've used a nappy 2-3 times and they're hopeless, they're leaking, you know, this is making cloth nappies harder, you know, I should have bought a different brand, and it's that panic point because people have probably told them cloth nappies leak and then suddenly they're experiencing it. But it's really important, like I said, get those 8 washes in before you start panicking and even looking at other problems. It's really important that maybe you change a little more frequently when they're sort of building up to that 8 washes. Now the next issue might be that your nappy's not soaked, but it's completely wet at the front. So you might take it off and the back's dry and your front is soaked and it's leaked out. So there's a few tricks for this, and the most easy one is to fold where you need the most absorbency. So in our all-in-2 nappies, this is quite easy. They come with a booster, I've got one here, and an hourglass. So when they're really little and brand new, we recommend as a newborn, they just use this insert. It's got 3 nice thick layers of bamboo fleece. And then when they're a bit bigger, you can move into this and then use both combined. So when you want to get more absorbency in the front, you can simply fold this one in half like this and pop it in your nappy like that, okay? So you've actually then popped 3 more layers into the front where you need the most. And you're not going to have as much issue with having a completely dry back, or the underneath layers are often dry at the back because it just hasn't managed to get there in time. So that's a good little trick, and you can actually do something really similar with like a snake insert. So whatever inserts you've got, even if you don't have Baby Bear, have a look at how you might actually be able to fold them to put the absorbency where you need it most. So in your Teddy outside snap nappy, you get this nice long insert. So you can do something really similar. You can sort of fold so it's right into the front there like this, and pop it on so you've just got the tail at the end. That can be really good for little boys. Little girls generally, they wet straight into the middle, so you can do this too, and create pads so that sitting there. This can also work as a fit issue. So a lot of people, because our side snap nappies, and this is sort of digressing, but because our side snap nappies don't have those rise snaps, it can be harder to get the nappy to sit firmly against Bub's groin. And really for the nappies to work, there needs to be, the fabric really needs to be pressed up against them so that the wee is hitting it and absorbing straight away. And if there's sort of a gap and the absorbency is hanging down because it's not quite pulled up enough, sometimes people get it that it pulls and it just comes out. So a really good trick with little bubs is to actually fold so that you have the majority in the middle, because what it's going to do is it's actually going to push up firmer because it's filling that gap right in the sort of the base of the nappy, so that it can actually sit right up against them. It pushes the nappy in up against them and helps with any of those leaks. So if you've got nice long inserts, this is something you can sort of try to push the nappy up where you need it. So that's another sort of tip with fitting. Yeah, so for even bigger bubs, so if you're getting a leak straight out the leg, that's also a nice little trick. Okay, so that's sort of a really basic run through of the fit issues that we often see. If you've tried all of those things and you're still having problems, it's really good, contact the brand and ask them. They might have specific things that they can help and other ideas, and that's really what they're there for. And I think you'll find everyone in the nappy community and the nappy brands, they really want to help you make this work for you. It's in your interest and theirs that their products work beautifully for you. So never be afraid just to ask. Shoot off an email and with your questions. So then we get to absorbency. So your nappy is absolutely soaking wet, and even the pants are soaking wet, the sheets are soaking wet. So the first thing is an expectation, and that is how long should a cloth nappy last? And generally the benchmark's about 3 hours, and that fits with sort of what World Health Organization recommends as well, that we're changing 3 hourly for the best comfort and health of our child. So if before 3 hours you are getting leaks, there's a few things you can do. And like I said, you can try folding the insert into ways where it's going to help give the absorbency where you most need it. And then you can look at boosters. So there are so many different boosters on the market. Even here at Baby Bear, we have at least 4 that I can just think of in my head while I'm talking. And they all sort of work in different ways. And the first one I'm going to show you, which is really, really popular, is our invisible booster. We call it invisible because it's actually quite trim. It's only 2 layers of bamboo fleece, but it's sort of narrow, so it's 8 centimeters across here. And then the front sort of hides away, or the back, wherever you want to put it, into the back of the nappy, so you don't notice the bulk as much. Anyway, so this is a really versatile booster, and you can sort of pop this in as you need it, and you can fold it any which way. So right into the front, in half, a bit longer if you need it, so it just goes the whole length of the nappy, all sorts of different things. So there's lots of different boosters like this. It's a contoured booster you can think about adding to your nappy. Trifolds are really like, this is the big, you know, going to give you the most absorbency. It's almost another whole insert on its own. So if you've got like a super, super, super heavy wetter, then something like that might help too. So you need to look at adding something into your nappy, essentially, if you have an absorbency issue. With your bear carbs, so just going back to being Baby Bear, if you've got lots of the rectangle boosters, so you've got lots of all-in-twos, and you just want to try if more absorbency helps you, one really easy, quick way is just to pop 2 rectangles in with your hourglass and see how much further that gets you with your nappying. So keep that in mind as a really quick trick without spending any more money or buying something, that you can just pull one of your boosters from one of your other nappies and give it a go. You don't actually have to go out and spend more money to try and solve the problem, especially if you haven't worked out that that's the real problem yet, if that makes sense. Anyway, I hope that really helps you guys think about leaking nappies, and it's gone a little longer than I wanted, but anyway, I hope there's some good information in there for you. Lots of other videos, and if you've ever got any questions, have a look on our website, on our YouTube channel, or shoot us an email, jenny@babybear.com.au. Thank you, bye.